program, Commissioner Smith.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to speak briefly about the resolution this morning having to do with air quality and U.S. recycling. I've been trying to move this thing to some type of resolution after talking to the residents in the neighborhoods repeatedly, and my understanding is that the county has the responsibility for air quality monitoring from FDEP. I think we're one of 3 counties in the state that has that responsibility. And I would just like to maybe get the board agreement and give direction to staff to really double up the efforts, if not triple the efforts, to find these folks. To me, the fact that they're still operating, the regulations over a 24-hour period, these folks seem to know how to play the game, turn the machine off, let the air clear for a minute or so, whatever it takes, an hour, and they spire right back up again. They work 7 days a week into the evening, off and on. The trucks aren't covered, as you saw. The dust, it's just a real mess, and it's just not U.S. recycling. It's also on Myrtle there by Booker High. So I mean, I just think that since it is our responsibility as a county, as an agent of FDEP, that we direct staff to really get our efforts up there, and when folks are in violation, that they are fined appropriately or shut down. But this is a public health issue that has been going on for too long, and apparently it's in our court because, like I said, we're doing it for FDP. So I would like the board here to maybe have a consensus to give staff direction to double and triple our efforts here.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Smith. I think if you are asking this board to give Jonathan direction, we'll have to use a motion. So if you'd like to make a motion, let's go ahead and bring it in.
All right. I'd like to make a motion to direct staff with the air quality monitoring on U.S. recycling to increase their efforts and try to resolve this thing legally, but bring this in because right now they're in violation, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had Commissioner Mast. You were on the board before, so let me go back to Commissioner Mast right now.
It's okay. Thank you, Chair.
Yep.
I just wanted to look to Jonathan and Josh and say I'm extremely supportive of this. What is our purview when it comes to one of our municipalities? And because I think it would be helpful for me to understand what we can and can't do, and then within that maybe we can give better direction, not to try and supersede what, because I do think it's very important that we hold that line. If you could at least help me understand a better of what we have and can and can't do.
Sure. Thank you. Maybe what we could take as the first step, and Commissioner Smith's been working on this for his entire term in office, maybe even before that, but and I think the last time we did a comprehensive write-up for the board was probably prior to you, Commissioner Mast, and Commissioner Knight joining the commission. Certainly, Brad Johnson, Assistant County Administrator, sent out an email on the status maybe, I don't know, maybe last week, earlier this week. But we are restricted in terms of actual output on what we can do. I think you heard from the residents; they're just frustrated. They want it to be different. They're not necessarily blaming county staff. I don't even know that they're blaming city staff anymore, although that used to be more true. But we are some light-lit. I will tell you, I don't think there's a whole lot left regulatory-wise that we can do. We can certainly ask them. For example, the person said, could we ask them to tell us when they're going to run the machine? Well, yeah, we could probably do that. They're not obligated to do that, but we could ask them if they'd be willing to do that, and that's certainly something we could add to it. But I would suggest what we'll do is, if it's okay with the board, in order to make sure all 5 of you have a good sense of what it means for what responsibilities we have under our agreement through the state, what actions we can and can't take, who has the ability to fine, who doesn't have the ability to fine. And in the meantime, we will look at all of those things that maybe we think we could add to the mix. If there's things we think we haven't leveraged already, and we'll package that up and put it in front of the board. And either you all can bring it back as a discussion item, or you can direct me to bring it back as a discussion item one way or the other. That would be my suggestion.
Thank you, Jonathan. I have Commissioner Knight. You're on the board, sir.
You know, I was talking earlier, back in the old days, it's almost like having a noise meter. Is that everybody thinks we can point a laser like a radar in a car, a troop, or a law enforcement car, or a laser. And I think they're frustrated, and like Commissioner Mast and Mark and everybody said is, you know, how far can we go? What do we have the authority to do without overextending? One thing that they're not here was there's more than one way to skin a cat when they're talking about the vehicles coming in and out of there. They don't have tarps on them or dropping rocks and all this stuff. Is that, you know, that could become a law enforcement issue. You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat with hoping that doesn't need to happen, but certainly wanting them to be a good neighbor up in there, like our county administrator is talking about, is the communication with them and maybe our communication with the city, reaching out to the city manager. I think they got one there, maybe was a cop at one point in time. There's other ways to go about it to hopefully we can get some voluntary compliance. But certainly a lot of things they discussed earlier today they're not in the county. And a couple of the places they brought up were really private that really aren't under our responsibility, I should say. I don't want to say it that way, but, you know, we can't do everything. But, you know, if we had a magic wand, it'd already be cured. And it's kind of like the hard work our staff did up in Nokomis and helped us mitigate and cure that. And I agree with Mark. I mean, wish there was an ordinance about nuisance, because it's more of a nuisance than anything. We can just point a meter at it and say you're in violation and hold them responsible, write them a ticket. Wish they'd be a good neighbor. So I kind of agree with Jonathan's saying is, you know, maybe we communicate with them a little bit more. You know, I know some people up in the city maybe will make a couple phone calls and say, you know, there's other ways you can help your neighborhood too, that there's different opportunities there to bring some compliance in different ways. And I'll leave it at that. But yeah, they become more of a pest than anything, and we're trying to help. I believe staff's trying to help the best of the ability, but I'm hearing you, Mark, man. I'm hearing from them too, and it's disappointing that she has to come in with a bag of junk because an organization or a company won't self-regulate. If you remember back in the day when we were having problems with metals, I don't know if Josh was here yet, but, you know, I don't know if we have the authority to change ordinances or supersede the state government. I don't know, Josh, I'm kind of overstepping it there probably, right? Do we have a way of creating an ordinance? I think we did that with the metals. We asked them to self-regulate themselves, and they chose to ignore us. So we created some ordinances that, I hate to say it, is that if they don't want to help themselves, we don't need to help them.
I mean, something we can look into. I know here's state preempt, you know, where we got some permissions from the state to regulate it, so it'd be limited to what the authority was granted to us.
I mean, are we able to preempt anything from the state? Or you know, how's that work legally without getting ourselves into litigation? And would that be something you would consider taking a look at?
We can look into that too, a part of the assignment. Right now we are preempted unless you get the authority from the state to be able to do this. We do have some authority designated to us. We'd have to look to see if it falls within something that was designated to us from the state.
It certainly is a quality of life thing, just like the metals were back in 09, 10, 11. I think that metal law was taken throughout the state just because those organizations chose not to self-regulate. And we don't want to do it. We got enough work. Yeah. But certainly it's a quality of life thing. And so if you're able to talk to us a little bit before we just keep trying. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Smith, you're back on the board, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to say this is more than a nuisance in that what I heard is that the number of emergency room admissions due to breathing and health issues having to do with air intake. This zip code has the most in anywhere in the state as far as emergency room and, like I said, admissions having to do with breathing. We have folks there that their eyeballs are actually scarred by the dust from living just across the way from it. And we have kids playing in a park. And so there's so many things going on there, and that if, you know, and I appreciate Josh's comment, is like, if we've been given the responsibility from FDP, I'd like to know exactly what we can and can't do, and then do it, and work with the city, because it's in the city, and to find a way to partner with the neighborhood, the city, and the health department, and see what he can do about making this a healthier situation. So that's the purpose of the motion.
Yeah, Jonathan, please go ahead.
So was somebody
Yeah.
making a motion
Well,
for a
I'll
board?
check on that.
Okay,
So,
all right.
Commissioner Smith, you have a motion here. Do you want to continue with your motion? Would you rather rescind it, kind of, maybe kind of, Jonathan, you weighed in on it. You know,
Well, if he doesn't need a motion, if he's just looking for board
Yeah.
consensus and come back to us, that would work.
So even on board assignments, we typically do motions. So
Okay.
if it was a board assignment to research
Okay.
all the things that we talked about, including our areas of responsibility, the county attorney will add in his piece. And in the meantime, we will, separate and distinct from the board assignment, we can do some of those things where, you know, I think we've developed a pretty good relationship, a much better relationship with the neighborhood. And they've done a lot of things to help. We can continue to engage through our staff that way, and we'll also reach out. We reach out to the owners pretty regularly, just through the nature of things, but also do that as well on asking for, specifically the one the resident mentioned is would they inform us on when they're going to be operating it. And we can do that separate and distinct from the board assignment, as long as there's no objection for the board. But the board assignment is a motion for us to bring it back for discussion, I assume.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Second. All right, we got a motion by,
The clerk,
well, yeah, we got to make sure everything is good over there with those ladies. You
I
guys
mean,
okay?
did you get through that word salad and a motion in there?
We got it.
All right, very good, very good. We got a motion, a second. I'm just going to weigh in last because, you know, this is healthcare, right? Just gronking it real quick. You know, silicon dust here, crystal silica leads to lung disease, silicosis, severe breathing difficulties, limited but not included to bronchitis, you know, COPD. That's just a quick, you know, Gronk ChatGPT thing, right? So anytime you deal with the public health in a situation like this, I think Commissioner Smith, you're spot on. And Commissioner, like, this is our home. We heard testimony that it's by children, you know, I think at Booker High School. I think there should be a matter of urgency on this for the health, safety, and wellness of our community, especially related to that. And I would hope that the business owners or whomever would be willing to have that very open, honest dialogue and conversation about the health of our community. So with that being said, we'll just call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, passes unanimously.
That's it.
All right, Commissioner Smith, very good. Commissioner Knight, sir.